What's up, guys? Callum from Action Backers here. Welcome to episode 3 of the Puckline podcast. Apologies that I've been away for a few weeks. Things have been kind of hectic, but I'm glad to be back. This week, however, I'm going to keep things short and sweet just because there's not a lot going on, especially in the hockey world. So I have a few things I want to talk about today. I want to get into some hockey stuff, some Super Bowl stuff, and then just talk briefly about some things that have been happening in poker. So I know some of you like poker. I know some of you don't care about poker, but I feel it's important to talk about anyways. So to start with, it's the AllStar Weekend in the NHL. So that just means there's nothing to bet on, which is okay to take a little break, I guess. But I'd be interested to hear your guys' take. Do you like the All-Star game? Do you not like the All-Star game? If so, what do you like about it? And if not, what do you dislike about it? I still watch it just because I'm a big hockey fan. I like the skills competition as well. I find it interesting, and it's pretty fun to watch. The game I could take or leave. The 3-on-3, it's kind of played out, and guys don't really try. That's a big reason why I don't bet on the games either. But for something to do or to have on as background noise, it's okay. Like I said, I'm a big hockey fan, and if you guys follow me on Twitter at ActionBackers, you'll know that I'm hoping to get back into posting my picks more regularly with hockey as well. I know we had a bit of a losing week and a half there, but things picked up. Again, I'm officially posting my picks on the Action Network just because it's a lot for me to keep track of to post in multiple places. So I definitely do try and throw my picks out on Twitter when I have them. But if you are ever unsure, definitely follow me on the Action Network as I make sure to post there. Yeah, so again, if you guys like hockey, I actually just came into a partnership with the NHL Shop. So I've been buying a couple cool things. They have like a bunch of jerseys and swag and different apparel and stuff like that. If you're interested in buying anything, hit me up on Twitter or send me an email at actionbackers@gmail.com, and I can get you crazy discounts. There's one going on right now. I think today, January 24th is the last day, but it's like up to 65% off and free shipping over $39. So some pretty significant discounts. And I'm happy to hook you guys up with that and give you some discount codes there. But that being said, that's really all I want to talk about from a hockey perspective. A couple crazy games in the last few nights, though. The Leafs finally won again, which was good to see. Austin Matthews finally scored. He hadn't scored in 7 games, so things were getting pretty intense. And then Washington they can't win a game, and they're just getting blown out like crazy. Their game on the Tuesday night or against San Jose, Ovechkin had 3 goals, and they ended up losing 7-6 in overtime or something like that. Just goals galore. So from like a daily fantasy standpoint, it was actually really fun, really interesting to play. Just like tons and tons of points all over the place. So if you guys are interested in daily fantasy, let me know. I am getting back into it. I won a tournament a year ago, took down first place in like an NHL Saturday slate. I think it paid $4,000 or something like that. So that was nice, but I haven't really played in the last year and a half, really, since I won that tournament. So I'm just getting back into it a little bit now, trying to use some modeling to see how we do. But yeah, it's just another thing to do, right? Better than sitting at home twiddling your thumbs and things like that, and it makes the games more interesting for sure, especially on those nights when I don't really love any teams. So again, just keep following me on Twitter, and I'll make sure to keep posting my updates on the picks. Obviously, the big news, though, is the Super Bowl, right? Super Bowl's coming up in a couple weeks. It's really exciting, busy time of year, especially for novice bettors. If you are new to betting and you're just checking us out, if you want some pretty awesome discounts, not discounts, some pretty awesome like deposit bonuses and stuff like that on new sports books in time for the Super Bowl, or even if you're a season bettor and you just want to take advantage of some deposit bonuses on books you've never played on. Again, hit me up on Twitter or check out the site actionbackers.com. I have all my sportsbook reviews up there and all the best deals and exclusive offerings. So make sure you take advantage of those. Interesting topic with the Super Bowl, setting the odds. So setting the odds for the Super Bowl is obviously the biggest decision that North American odds makers have to make each year. Last year, online casino Super Bowl wagers were estimated to top like $4.5 billion. So obviously the books really need to get those odds right. This year, some opening lines out of Vegas had the Rams set up 1-point favorites against the Patriots. However, within a matter of minutes, there was enough action coming in on the Patriots that the bookies were forced to flip the line to New England -1. I find that crazy, just the power of the public and the damage that they're able to, not damage, but the amount of weight that they're able to do and have the lines. And I guess that's not necessarily true. I spoke at a turn. That's the money coming in, not necessarily the public, but it's interesting nonetheless. So from there, the bettors continued to just hammer the Patriots. They moved the line all the way up to its current offering, at least the last time I checked, which was yesterday, which had the Patriots at -2.5, at -$1.20. And as of yesterday afternoon, Wednesday, more than 75% of point spread bettors were banking on the Patriots to cover. With the total, almost 60% of bettors think the game will finish under 58 points. So I think 58 is a good number. I don't know. What do you guys think? I think it'll go under. Definitely see like 58 seems like more of a college football total in my opinion. But again, I don't profess to be like the most knowledgeable football guy. I am sort of indifferent about it. I'll watch games here and there. I'm like a lifelong Bills fan, so that should tell you everything you need to know. I prefer to just spend my time on other sports like hockey or playing poker, things like that. That being said, I do like football, and this is obviously like a very exciting time of year. So the Patriots, they make their third straight trip to the Super Bowl. They head into this matchup having won and covered each of their last 3 games overall, scoring at least 37 points in each of those games. So it looks like they're peaking at the right time for sure. But it's also the same story for the Rams, right? Like they've won and covered in 4 straight, and their defense is really, really stepping up. LA is allowing just 21.5 points per game over the current winning streak. So I think we're in for a pretty great Super Bowl in a couple weeks here. Let me know on Twitter what you guys think at Action Backers. I'll be interested to hear your opinions, who you're betting on, and why. I tend to prefer betting on props, to be honest, just because I find them really fun in the Super Bowl. And again, this is where I throw my analytical side out the window. If you have listened to the podcast at all, I talk about value betting and betting with purpose, especially if you're trying to win in the long run and looking for positive expected value. And I just throw that all out the window and have some fun with the Super Bowl. Props are fun. So a couple of the ones that stand out, the first round of props that are live, obviously with a bunch more to come, but you can bet on the first song that Maroon 5 will perform at halftime. Right now, One More Night is sitting at plus 300, and then their big one, Moves Like Jagger, is at plus 600. You can bet on the coin toss, heads or tails, at minus 120. So obviously the books are taking some extra juice there. And then one of my favorite ones is the color of the Gatorade poured on the winning coach. I just think it's hilarious. People always have these strategies. They think it's going to be orange and things like that. And you see the outrage on Twitter and social media. So right now you can get lime, green, or yellow for plus 225. So whatever, like that's all the same color, right? But some have it as lime, some have it as green, some as yellow. Obviously, check back, like wherever your local book is or wherever you're playing. Check back closer to the game time, and there'll definitely be some more unique prop betting options. A couple other interesting ones. To no surprise, Tom Brady, in my opinion, the greatest of all time. And like I said, I'm a Bills fan, so it's not like I'm a Patriots fan or anything. But he's set up as the Super Bowl MVP favorite at minus 105, followed by Jared Goff at plus 215. I actually think there's a lot of value in that bet, just especially if you look like the Rams opening up as favorites, even marginal favorites, and if only for a couple hours. I do think, taking Goff at plus 215, he could very easily have a big game and put the team on his back. People like that, especially when it comes down to the MVP voting. And then we look at a couple of the running backs. So Sony Michel, plus 685, and then obviously Todd Gurley's in there at plus 1,000. That's an interesting one to me. Todd Gurley's obviously a very good player. It's interesting that he's not a little bit higher. I guess that's just because he's a running back. That would be my guess there. Aaron Donald is the highest defensive player on the board by a long shot, actually, at plus 1,500. And then Gurley is the favorite to score the first touchdown at plus 630, with Michelle at 645, and then CJ Anderson at 705. So there's a couple decent bets there. At least some of them are quick sweats, like the first touchdown, things like that. And then obviously on the other side, we have the first turnover of the game. So an interception is the favorite at minus 160, and no turnovers is pegged at plus 750. I don't know. I find those ones challenging to bet on. The no turnovers one is always really tempting to take, but especially in a big game like this. But it's so risky, and I tend to stay away from those. But if anyone like makes a bunch of money and has a system for betting props, things like specific things they look at, I'd be really interested to learn more. So let me know. And then Greg, and I'm going to butcher this. Like I said, I'm not a huge football guy, so apologies in advance. But Greg Zerlin, the kicker, so he's smashing 50-yard field goals like they're chip shots. So from that aspect, the Rams are minus 140 favorites to kick the longest field goal. On the other side, the Patriots are minus 130 to score the longest touchdown. So again, just a couple fun props. And a few best bets there. Let me know what you're thinking on Twitter. I'd be really interested to hear if you're going to bet the Super Bowl, and if not, ultimately the bookmakers, they do a really great job of selling why you should be betting on the Super Bowl, and they come up with these great promotions and things like that. But that's really to entice the new bettors in. For anyone who's betting on sports every day of the week or every week or whatever, it really is just another game, and ultimately you're probably just going to pay a bit more juice potentially, depending where you go. So anyways, I'd be interested again to hear your guys' take on betting on the Super Bowl, and if there's anything you like. I'd also be interested to hear how everyone did in the NCAA championship. So I put a small bet on Clemson on the money line. That came through, and I was really happy with that. It was more of a gut feel bet than anything. And just looking at their record over the past couple of years, I decided to take a shot, and it came through. So I was pretty happy with that. Okay, guys, so like I said, short and sweet. The last thing I want to talk about, this is just for the poker players who happen to listen. So I'm sure everyone has heard that PokerStars has recently halved the buy-in of the Sunday Million. So it was $215 buy-in, and going forward, it's now $109 buy-in. So on the face of it, that sounds really great, but I'd be curious to hear your take. So some, in the poker community, a lot of the arguments, and I tend to agree with them, while it's having the buy-in, that just means that they're allowing more not regular players, but more recreational players, I should say, to potentially come in, which can be argued that it's good for the game. However, by doing this, they're also adding one rebuy. So that kind of negates that, right? Like now guys can just come in and they can rebuy if they need to. It's also flattened the payout structure a little bit. So forever and ever, the top prize for the Sunday Million was like somewhere just over $200,000, and now it's looking like it's probably going to be over $100,000 or something like that. So the idea there from Stars is, I guess they're looking to flatten out the pay structure to get more players paid and keep more money on the site, but at the expense of the big top payouts. That's not to say that I wouldn't take $100,000 or something for taking that down. That'd be awesome. And then the big thing about this, though, and this is where you get the most outcry, is by looking at it, they've actually increased the rake again, right? So it was $215 and now it's $109. So quick math suggests that the rake on the tournament fee has gone up by $3. And if there's anything PokerStars has been famous for in the last few years, for sure, it's jacking up the rake on their players, with some pretty weird reasonings behind it. So anyways, like I said, I don't know yet if it's good or bad or indifferent, but it is something to be aware of, and definitely people in the poker community are they have opinions on that. So for you guys in the States, I know, sorry to rub it in because I know you can't play on Stars, but let me know what your favorite place to play online is. Again, in our sportsbook reviews, I cover a little bit on poker. It's something I don't typically do a ton of in-depth reviews on, just because I have my places I play and I just like to play there. But I do have some cool promo stuff if you're a new player looking to play, not necessarily in the States, unless you want to play on Bet Online. I can hook you up there. That's pretty well it, guys. So again, really want to thank you guys for listening. And if you have any questions or comments, concerns, things you want me to talk about next week, please feel free to hit me up on Twitter at ActionBackers, or send me an email, actionbackers@gmail.com, or check out the site for the best sportsbook reviews. And I have some cool promos coming up in the near future. So be sure to keep your eyes peeled for actionbackers.com. The last thing I want to mention, if you're interested and if you've listened to the end, something that I started in 2019, I can now get you 5% loss back if you're interested. You have to be a new player to any of the sites that I review, but send me a message and we can talk about it, and I can hopefully hook you guys up with some free loss back if that sounds like something you're interested in. All right, guys, that's it for this week. Hoping to be back soon and hoping you're making some money.